Jaguars at Texans. Open Texans minus 8.5. Now minus 6.5 across the board. Total open at 40.5. Pinnacle still hanging at 40.5. Now mostly 40s. Houston has already clinched a playoff berth, but their seeding could range anywhere from the number 1 seed in the AFC to the 6th seed. All they can do now is take care of the Jaguars, who will be starting Blake Bortles. And Donnie, we've been asking for this for quite a while now. I have a sneaking suspicion that Bortles can play okay here. Want to hear your breakdown? Jaguars 2-5 on the road against the Texans, 5-2 at home. Jaguars at Texans, Donnie.
Yeah, I'll tell you what was interesting about that is you saw Blake Bortles come into the game, or excuse me, Blake Bortles is going to be the starter, which really rose my eyebrow, and I liked it right away because now they're actually going to have a semblance of an offense with maybe a forward passing game and a guy that can move around. But the only reason why Blake Bortles is actually playing this football game is because Cody Kessler would have got killed this week. Cody Kessler can't move around, and they're coming up against a hellacious pass rush with a sketchy offensive line. They actually did him a service by benching him and saying, you know, your wife and kid are going to be collecting Social Security checks if I let you play this week. So at least we're going to run Blake Bortles out there where if he gets killed, he's not even going to be part of our franchise anymore, but he is the better overall quarterback. They can run an offense. They're having a semblance of an offense. Leonard Fournette probably going to miss this football game. Carlos Hyde actually added to the injury report today, which isn't good news for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but you still should be able to get around. But you have a valid passing game, something that you haven't had for the last month. And we joked about it every time we came on the Audible and said, something just stinks in Jacksonville. You're deliberately losing and running your offense into the ground and pissing off your defense at the same time. And for what? You should just let Blake Bortles play out the string, see if you had anything. Maybe you could trade him or, you know, who knows? Maybe he'd be a part of your future. You don't know. But the worst thing in the world was to put Kessler in football games. But now you're going on the road. Houston in a must-win situation, but I think the number's about right. Before Blake Bortles was in, Jimmy, you were seeing like 8.5s and 9s out there. Once he was now named the starter, you quickly went back to 6.5s. If you watch the last game with the Houston Texans versus the Philadelphia Eagles, they really got injured in that football game. I mean, you lose Demaryius Thomas. Kiki Kuti should come back in this game, but he's questionable, which means with a hamstring injury, that could go at any time. So you just lean on DeAndre Hopkins, which is a great wide receiver. But on the opposite side, you got Jalen Ramsey out there to try to slow him down. So they match up really well. A fast, athletic defense to go up against a fast, athletic quarterback. Should be a pretty good chess match. I think Houston wins this football game, Jimmy, seals up that division title and go into the playoffs. But I think they're in for a fight this week, and I think Jacksonville's going to come to play and just by default hang around in this game late.
I agree. I think that's a nice read. I'm looking forward to see Bortles get another shot. It's been pretty sad after the run through the playoffs last year to see him break down. I was very hard on him last year, and this year I felt more pity than anything else. Because this is a Jags team that we had high expectations for, obviously, this year. Mark Jones says, I think Jacksonville gives up. Tom Marino says, I bet Jags if I can bet 7.5. Public will be on Houston. The line should go back up. Very interesting thought there. Tomore says, good spot for Bortles against a bad secondary. No pressure. He says, Bortles starting after the late comeback last week. Jags have some momentum. Idling Jags. Jags will play hard, and Houston's secondary is bad. Tasha Mayhew liking Houston money line with the under 40. That's an interesting spot. Donnie, what are you thinking about this total? I haven't seen much movement on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, 40 is a tough one here because you're hoping, I mean, you're probably, even the best part about this, if you get bad Blake Bortles on the road, which you're probably going to get, that's still light years better than what you're getting out of Kessler. How amazing does that sound? If you get a bad game out of Blake Bortles, that's still better than a good game out of Cody Kessler. That's where we're going to have to factor in, but 40 points is really low in this game. But styles do make fights here because both of these teams have hellacious pass rushes and not much on the offensive line. But if you're looking for maybe a silver lining saying, well, how can Jacksonville do something? Blake Bortles is going to be able to escape some pressure. Blake Bortles at least has a viable arm, and you're going against a really banged-up secondary that if you take a look last week, just in that game alone, I mean, Kareem Jackson looks like he's going to go this week, but Kayvon Webster, another key ingredient in that secondary, he's gone and out on IR. And then you have Jonathan Joseph, who's questionable for this football game with an injury. You still might be down after the first quarter, your top 3 corners, again, going into this game. Houston got really banged up at the wrong time here, Jimmy. And number is right. I mean, Tom Marino says it right there. If you can get 7.5 or more than a touchdown, I think it's valid because I'm not too sure Houston has even the ability to run away with the football game at this point, Jimmy.
Yeah, I don't know if they do either. Tasha Mayhew giving us a final score of 24-13 Texans. That's the Texans cover. And then Nico says Texans 27-17. But Shaken Back says Texans will win, but don't cover. I'm excited to see Bortles have another chance. you know, I hate watching these guys sort of fall apart so publicly. I expect them to play well here in this meaningless game for the Jags. I like it, and shining through. Look at that sunshine on the ocean. Man, does Whale Capper keep stepping it up. Whale Capper, what a treat. Thank you so much for joining us. How you doing, my man? Hope you had a wonderful Christmas.
I certainly did, and missed you guys. Hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas as well. Great to be back. This is like maybe one of the most picture-perfect Southern California days that I can remember. This time of year, it gets just, you get these where it's just 60 degrees, 65 degrees. The surf is up. There's people out here in San Clemente catching some nice waves. This is as good as it gets. So happy to be talking football, though. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely. We've started with a few games. We've talked Cowboys, Giants, Panthers, Saints, Jets, Patriots, Lions, Packers, and just finished Jaguars, Texans. Is there anything you're liking out of those games before we move forward?
A lot of coin flips there.
We got through the junk games, Whale Capper. We got through all the junk games before you came in, so thank us.
Get your luckiest coin out. Get your luckiest coin out and flip it if you're going to bet those games. I'll tell you. Maybe the only angle I have is I kind of like the Jags as a dog. They seem to have a spoiler mindset kind of ingrained in them. They have the Tom Coughlin play to the whistle. We're playing to the end of this game. Blake Bortles, I was kind of impressed, I guess, with the way that the offense kind of responded to Bortles coming back against the Dolphins last week. They could be frisky here. I'm probably going to look at maybe a Jags team total over because it's going to be in the 16-ish range. I think they can get there against the Houston defense that has issues in the secondary, especially. If I feel like I whiffed not getting Jacksonville plus 8.5, and you haven't seen the same line movement on the total that you saw with Jags crossing some key numbers there. So there's got to be something available to find that same angle on this total or the team total or something like that. So I'm hopeful that we see like a 16.5 or a 17 for a Jags team total. I can get it over there because I think they're going to compete. They're going to play hard. They're going to score some points and maybe even some defensive points because they can definitely get after it, and their secondary is pretty outstanding. They can cover well and turn over the ball. So should be an interesting look on the Jags.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.